This Sprinter is ready to go, and so is this ProMaster. The owners walked through and they sat and sat and sat and sat and got a good feeling on how everything is going to fit in place. Now it's go time. Before I go, or before I went, I enjoyed a visit with an old travel buddy. Radio Days, in my opinion, is the finest example of detailed thematic continuity. Here is a Radio Day segment I produced for Advanced RV. It never aired. It fell to the cutting room floor. Sam and Sharon have a Travato that they plan to keep. After living in it full time for a few months, they've come to learn it needs a few modifications. Did somebody say modifications? I set about transforming a wardrobe closet into a pantry. Pre-finished half-inch maple veneer plywood is just what this job needs. Wait a minute. How would you like to see what it took to make that transition in camera angle? First, I had to bring a light over to act as the main cross from the far side. I already had my soft diffused highlight light in place. Then I retrieved the tripod from the previous shot's scaffold perch and set it right where I wanted it. Now the saw is the hero of this shot. Brought the maple plywood that will eventually be the pantry shelves in Sharon's Travato to Alex's shop to be pin drilled and edge banded. Alex's machinery is purpose-built for each step of this process. The first setup positions a plunge router drill jig to evenly space holes for the shelf pins. You all know and enjoy adjustable shelves. Well, this is how they are made. Next comes the beauty of real wood edge banding, in this case, maple. Hot glue, secretly mixed in a cauldron by old, unusually short Italian women, is applied as the edge band is fed through the machine. Snip off the excess on the ends and trim to flush top and bottom. This router is designed at such an angle to ensure an ever so slight bevel to the trim, leaving the face stock untouched. A quality machine in the hands of a young master. Yep, It's the old girl, the old Pleasure Way is here. She's been neglected for a long time. But I'm going to start to do a little work here on Saturdays. That's right, I'm going to be working on many, many vans all by myself. If you remember, a while back, I took out, well, I didn't take out this fridge. Gus took out this fridge. So here's what I'm doing in here, again, for those of you that weren't around in the past videos. I'm going to put a bank of lithium batteries down here in the bottom. Lithionics, lithium batteries, maybe 400 amp hours, let's say. And then I'll put my refrigerator above it, a smaller fridge from Isotherm right above it, nice stainless steel. On this side of that wall, I'm going to be building a bureau or a dresser with an entertainment unit on top. And that's going to house a Xantrex inverter charger. I'm going to get rid of all the charging and whatnot that's in this van now. All the propane's already gone. I do not believe in second dedicated alternators in these vans, particularly the ProMaster. And you know the problems, you've heard of it. The belt moves over and cuts a coolant hose. Well, it's been happening out there. There's 100 people, 100 parachutes, and we know that 2 of them do not operate. Are you going to get on that flight? No. And that's how it is with that ProMaster second alternator. Okay, there may be 5,000 vans out on the road, but a dozen or 2 dozen are going to fail. I don't want those odds. I believe in the DC to DC converter. That's all. 30 amps in this case comes across from the original factory alternator. If there's a fail, the DC converter is a simple little $400 item to replace. Easy peasy. Some of them come with their own MPPT controllers to bring your solar down. So I'm looking at probably 70 amps of charging power on this van, 400 amps of lithium. What will I put on the roof? Maybe 400 watts of solar on the roof, 2,000 watt inverter. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You're not going to be running your air conditioner. If you have to do that, you got to go mooch dock, go plug in somewhere. But it will be as close to a fully self-sufficient unit as you can get and keeping the price within reason. So over here, this was the closet. So I took all the guts out of the closet because down here we've got the cabin heater, which is a propane-fired cabin heater. I'm getting rid of that and I'm going to replace it with a Webasto diesel-fired cabin heater. And then next to it, we have a propane-fired water heater. That's coming out, and I'm going to replace that with the IsoTemp water heater from the Boating World. And I will make hot water using my closed-loop glycol system and the heat exchanger up under the hood. I don't mess with the chassis glycol at all. It's my own system. Look at this wiring from Pleasure Way. Very nice. Very neat and clean. I like it. Here's the problem. Up here, they got a bunch of loose wires that are basically tied into the back of these gauges and switches, right? Okay, so these wires were laying on top of the ceiling panel that was in here. I wouldn't have done it, but that's where they are. The big problem is up here. You see how all these wires are not protected with loom or any additional insulation? And they're just passing right over this cut edge of 3/4 inch plywood. On each side of this cut edge of plywood is a nice sharp wooden edge. And since 2010, the vibration of driving this van has caused these wires to move across that, and almost every one of them has a cut in the insulation. And that's a short waiting to happen. I would never do that in my build, never. Every wire gets triple protected and it gets fastened every 12 inches somewhere. My wires don't hang like that. I'm a little surprised at that. But that's mass production compared to a singular custom build. I'm going to be replacing this cooktop. Propane cooktop comes out, gets replaced with a induction cooktop. And you know that nice big sink I got in here, that's going to stay right where it is. The new sink is here. I'll put new sneakers on this baby and new stainless steel exhaust system. I'm putting in a brand new latest and greatest air conditioner right there. And then of course the fantastic fan is coming out, and I will replace that with a Max Air fan. now that I know how to resolve the problem with those Max Air fans. As it turns out, as soon as a Max Air fan receives more than 13.2 volts, the motherboard craps out. And they're very good about sending you another motherboard. But again, who needs that heartache? No, I don't want that aggravation. So what you have to do, and this is being confirmed by Airxcel, the company that makes Max Air, and Coleman, by the way, you've got to put in a voltage regulator. You got to make sure you're only sending, say, 12.5 volts to that fan. So like a buck converter, small voltage regulator. So that's got to go in line, dedicated, before that juice hits this fan, the Max Air fan, and then you'll be fine. So that's what I'm going to do up there. So that's this baby. When building a van, we all know you can't work with a level. As hard as I try to keep my van level, it ain't. Square is a must, square off the floor. And a 2-foot square just doesn't cut it. So I set about building a larger square that we can use off the van floor. All the way to the upper cabinets and everything in between. This type of square should be treated as a delicate instrument. If you're not careful, you can knock it out of square. And then your van build will look like a Picasso. Looks like I'm going to have to order a few more parts before we can put this baby to work.